It's Tuesday, January 29th here in Seoul, and this is Korea's Daily News from Korea Now. I'm Debbie Won. Two elderly Korean women who were once victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery died on Monday, reducing the number of surviving victims to 23. According to the Korean Council for Justice and Remembrance for the Issues of Military Sexual Slavery by Japan, one of the victims who passed away on Monday was Ms. Kim Bok-dong, a strong activist who fought to stop violence against women and for a formal apology from the Japanese government. She was 93 years old. When Ms. Kim was 14, she was kept in comfort stations for the Japanese army across different countries in Asia, including Hong Kong, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. And for 8 years, she was forced to work as a so-called comfort woman, a euphemism that refers to wartime sex slaves by the Japanese military during World War II. In 1992, Ms. Kim publicly began to share her painful experience and detail what happened to her during her time as a sex slave. And for more than 20 years, she also participated in the weekly protests in front of the Japanese embassy for a formal apology for its past wrongdoings. Since 2012, Ms. Kim traveled the world to fight for peace and human rights through overseas campaigns at the UN Human Rights Council, the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, Norway, and Japan. And the other victim, who also died on Monday, was only identified by her surname Lee. She was 94 years old. In 1942, when Ms. Lee was 17 years old, she was kidnapped by Japanese troops on her way home after working at a factory. She was then forced to move to Manchuria, where she was forced into sexual slavery. There are now only 23 surviving victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery out of the 238 women who were officially registered with the South Korean government. Historians believe that up to 200,000 women, mostly from Korea, were forced to work in frontline brothels for the Japanese military during World War II. The UN Security Council has granted a sanctions exemption for an inter-Korean project to excavate Korean war remains in the demilitarized zone. A diplomatic source said on Monday that the UNSC made the decision last week, as Seoul sought the exemption to make sure that the delivery of equipment into the north for the project will not be impeded by anti-Pyongyang sanctions. The Koreans are planning to carry out the excavation project in Arrowhead Ridge, a notorious battle site of the Korean War, from April to October this year. The project comes as part of last year's military agreement aimed at reducing tensions and building trust between the two Koreas. And those are your top headlines for today. For full-length articles, you can head over to our official Yonhap News website, linked down below. As always, don't forget to subscribe to Korea Now for more daily updates.